PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
PreMarket Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Tuesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. Bear with us this morning for any technical glitches, any gremlins, because we are live from New York. We're not just live from anywhere in New York. We're live from the Benzinga Global Fintech Awards 2019. We're at New World Stages. We're on the set of a play right now. We're on stage. And Dennis, do you want to know? Joe knows this. Do you want to know what the name of the set that we are on right now? We're sitting sort of like against a backdrop here, and there's a set. Well, it's a play, obviously. And do you want to know what this play is called?
Yes, I do want to know.
It's called The Play That Went Wrong. And
So,
how apropos is that?
You're telling me there's going to be some gremlins.
There may be the set we are on is called the play that goes wrong. Play that goes wrong. That's where we are right now. So bear with us for any glitches. I think we're okay. Let's just hop right into it. Joel, what's happening here in the overnight market?
All right, well, first of all, Spencer Israel in a total fast market this morning. We started setting up at 7:30 a.m. here due to some scheduling problems, but he got us up and going. Kenny hit the bid. Glick will be joining us here shortly on stage. But as always, we start with the S&P 500 index futures, and surprise, surprise, we are in the green by 8 handles at 39.2175, 39.2975. Our close was 21.75. Pre-market low 15.75. I don't think we'll be seeing that today, folks. Any target I could give on the upside, I just call it 30 handles. That would take you about to 31.3575. That's been our average trading range. Crude in the red by 73 cents at 56.83. Gold in the red as well by $2.80 at 14.6910. Silver going the other way. We got silver up 9 cents at 17.09, back above $17. So we did be able to put together a few things for the show. And Dennis, what did you call it? Retail rec?
It looks like this, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of retailers here, obviously, this morning that the media is going to be talking about, and we're going to be talking about as well. And you can start with the big one, Home Depot, which is trading down right now 9%, or actually it's down 9 points. We're down 3.79% here in the pre-market. It is off the lows. I'll give you the numbers here quickly. I got them in front of me. I'm in the pro. $2.53 versus $2.52. $27.2 billion versus $27.53 billion. So slight miss on the sales. They are cutting guidance as well, which is never a good thing. Home Depot had been running up into the print, sitting near all-time highs, but those are gone here this morning as we're trading down almost $10 here. Joel, technical thoughts on HD's disappointing earnings?
Hi, and technical thoughts. That's going to take 1 second here. I did see it down trading $15 in the pre-market trading. Pulling my charts up here for Home Depot.
We are off the lows. So we're off the lows. Did we see how low we got there in the pre-market?
Yeah, here, I'll pull it up here. We've got in the pre-market 219.97 is the pre-market low.
We're down to $219.
97 cents.
Holy, so it's 10 points off the lows here now. Buy the dippers are already lurking here. You can't shake these guys, or girls. But anyways, I mean, we're off the lows. We're still 10 points, obviously, off of where we closed. So we're right in the middle here. What does that mean to you, Joel?
Can we go green on the session? I mean, we're still down $9.
Well, that would be crazy. I do not think we can go green on the session. I will make you a bet here right now on the world stages that Home Depot will not go green here today.
All right, Spencer's trying to help me out here with my computer. Not working real well.
Yeah, what's going on here, Joel? You got like a Joel's got the gremlins this morning.
Joel's got the gremlins. I got charts a little bit, anyways. I'm limited. We're running obviously on normally. So just to back up here. Normally, when I'm at my place, I've got 6 computers. I have an iPad on my lap. So I'm running usually the 7 screens, obviously, and Now we're running on just a laptop and an iPad here, so we're limited a little bit with our information sources, obviously, this morning when we're on the road like this. And Joel's got some gremlins totally on his laptop, so he's not getting his charts at all. So it's kind of like this play that went wrong, but we're not quite at that point here yet. We're not totally wrong. So I'll just say Home Depot is off the lows, and that's the good news. The bad news is it's still trading down 10 points. It's actually down 9 here now. And if you look here, Lowe's is trading down in sympathy as well. If I just bring up the LOW, obviously you pair traders out there know that Lowe's trades very closely with Home Depot. And
Lowe's still at the lows. Well, more closer to the lows.
Lowe's hasn't got off the lows.
No pun intended.
Why it's Lowe's.
111.50 was the pre-market low. 112.60 is where we're at right now.
We're up a buck from the low, so we've come off the lows there as well. We said say low one more time.
Low.
They report tomorrow, correct?
They're usually a couple days after. I don't know on the schedule, which I don't have written down here either. So
let's find out, courtesy of the Pro. Lowe's is reporting tomorrow before the open. Good job, Joel.
There you go. So now you got Home Depot setting the bar lower for Lowe's.
Right.
We got to stop saying low. So obviously that means that Lowe's may not have to blow it away to recoup some of these losses. If you're the first one reporting, you don't want to miss, and if you're the second one reporting, you want the first one to miss because they set the bar lower for you. So there you go. Lowe's down $2.42, but with the bar set lower here now because of Home Depot, if they say anything okay, I'd actually expect a rally.
What other earnings do we have, Dennis?
It's Retail Rec Day.
It's Retail Rec Day?
Yeah, Kohl's. So let's go into this one because this one is significant here. Kohl's is not bouncing back nearly as much as the other ones. I'll give you the earnings here, and then Spencer will tell you where it's at. But Kohl's a flat-out miss. So on an adjusted basis, 74 cents versus analyst estimates of 86. The sales did beat 4.63 billion. Their EPS guidance, they're cutting, and you never want to hear that too. So we have 2 cuts this morning. Home Depot cut. This one's significant for Kohl's. They're cutting it. Their EPS guidance from 5.15 to 5.45. They're cutting it down to 4.75 to 4.95. And that's why you're seeing Kohl's trade down significantly here in the pre-market. KSS, if I just bring it up here too, do you have it in front of you?
So a 40-cent EPS cut essentially for the full year EPS, a guidance cut. Now what you want to see, Joel's going to reboot his comm here. He'll be back with us in a minute.
Why is the market up?
Because the market goes up no matter what. Retail, they will find another sector to pick it up. And there is some good news here this morning, which we're going to get to in a second. So it's not all bad news. Just if you're trading retail stocks, it's pretty much all bad news. So Kohl's is trading down 12% here right now in the pre-market. It's at 51.25.
Right, just off the low. Pre-market low is 50.79.
It had been on a run. And we had talked about this, obviously, yesterday, even going into the print. Kohl's had been on a run. A few of these retailers had really taken off for the last 2 months. Call it the laggard trade, where obviously stocks that were out of favor for the year came back in favor in the last month and a half. And that's taken the stock up from this $48, $49 up to $58 as of yesterday. So giving back 7 points here this morning, giving back a good chunk of the run, not the entire run there. If you want to look at sympathy plays, there's a ton of them to talk about, obviously. But the big two that always move with Kohl's is Nordstrom and Macy's. And if we look at Nordstrom this morning, it is trading down here as well. JWN is down $1.72. So they're down 4.5%. They didn't even say anything. They just get punished because obviously Kohl's misses. So you think, okay, well, Nordstrom probably didn't do that great either. Macy's, same story. And poor Macy's never really had the run that the other two did. So they're getting hit back down. And this 16 level, if I'm just going off my memory because my charts are slow too, has been some major support for the stock for a while. We're coming back.
Why don't you guess where we're at right now?
I just brought up 15.99.
Okay. I was going to say.
I just guessed. I just guessed that if we're coming back into support, we're probably there. And there we are. We're down 5% on Macy's here. 16's big though. So you do have a lot of support down here in Macy's. And obviously, again, with Kohl's missing, when's Macy's due to report, Mr. Israel?
Well, here's Nordstrom, first of all. Nordstrom reports the 21st after the bell. So a Thursday afternoon. That's Nordstrom.
Yeah.
Macy's here, as I pull it up in the Pro. Macy's is Thursday morning.
Okay, so you do have the same setup where Kohl's has set the bar lower for Macy's and Nordstrom now. So now Macy's and Nordstrom, if they don't say anything, if they cut guidance, usually the stocks go down. But if they come in line now, it's probably good enough to get a rally here because everybody's obviously expecting that Macy's and Nordstrom are going to disappoint now. It's all about expectations. That is what earnings is. Like we talk about the news algo all the time. They read, oh, beat, buy it, oh, miss, sell it. And a lot of times that interpretation is incorrect because it's all about expectations and sentiment. That is sometimes more important than the number. Now that Kohl's has missed, Now you have Macy's and Nordstrom's expectations lower, which is a lower bar for them to climb. So if Macy's comes in Thursday morning and just comes in line, you could actually see the stock rally.
All right, Joel's.
Am I still here?
You're with us, Joel.
Oh,
yeah,
you're plugged into the main headset.
Yeah,
you didn't know you were still on. Yeah, you're plugged into the other main headset.
I'm not. I just rebooted my whole computer. Is that because I'm on the?
I don't know why you had to reboot, but you're on with us, Joel.
Yeah, you can talk.
I thought
you don't have any charts. You don't have any information in front of you, but you have a lot of information in your head, Joel. Just picture those charts because you look at them so much. You know what they look like. Yeah, we don't need charts. We know what they look like. We look at them every day.
Yeah, no.
So what are your thoughts? You get Kohl's running. It's had the run up, obviously 50 down $7 here now.
Buy the dip.
Joel. Buy the dip. That's usually actually often
what
doesn't
else? How else can you say anything except is there any help me out here, folks, with your charts? You know what I'd like to look at? Is there like 3 or 4 lows in the same area? 15.99.
Spencer's coming to try to get Joel's charts working here again.
It's just my trade station.
And my charts are limited as well. So you know what? We don't always have to be fully technical here too, because we talk a lot of fundamentals on the show, and we like to talk the technicals. We like to have an area, and obviously take Macy's out of my head there because my charts aren't great either.
Is there a daily chart there?
Well, I'm on Kohl's here, so let's go check out Kohl's, and we'll bring it up, but these charts aren't that great either. Again, my charting software is on my home computer, so we've had a run up. We've run from 47 up to the 58 area. We're coming back to 51.
You look at that. What kind of chart is that? That's a
3-month chart.
Yeah,
it's called a crappy looking chart.
Well, why don't you use a bar chart?
Because I've never used these charts ever before because I don't have my software here. I don't have 6 computers, Joel. I'm running. We're on we're on an operation here with one. So normally when you have 6 screens and you got charts on them all, now you have one little laptop with one little chart in the corner. This is how you have to trade. Is this how other people trade?
I've been with you for like 24 hours.
I'm just wondering though, like I feel like so naked here today because just with the little laptop and the little iPad is like, I don't know how I would even make a trade without that much information. And this is one thing, if you're in this business, it's one thing if you're an investor and you're just doing this on the side and you want to do a stock trade a week. If you're trying to do this for a living and you're not investing in, information, you are giving yourself a complete disservice because I'm sitting here and I feel like completely naked because I literally have only 1 or 2 information sources. The Benzinga Pro is excellent, so that's giving me the information. But without my normal charting service, which uses bar charts, like you say, I'm looking at these and I'm like, I can't even really make heads or tails out of this chart. So this is like something provided by a free service, which I won't say the name of. But I didn't download the software. We actually had 22 minutes to set up here this morning, so we obviously downloaded all.
I'm sorry.
But the point I'm making is, if you are in this as a business, you need to invest in information, and don't be afraid to pay a couple $100 a month for charts if you need to get a good charting service. I pay over $400 a month for my charting service just because I like the look of it.
Do you get S&P quotes? Do you get S&P quotes?
No, I don't do that. Because you don't need them. You got SPY. Nobody needs S&P futures quotes unless you're trading at midnight like you are, Joel. Because obviously between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m.
Joel's the only one
SPY.
that looks at the Sunday night.
You have
open.
the high frequency traders. You can thank Virtue Financial for that because they obviously make a market and SPY a 2-cent market for you at 4 o'clock in the morning. 2-3 cent market trading off of the S&P futures. So you don't need it.
But they're not open between 8
SPY,
and 4.
Well, I'm not trading. I need to sleep sometime there, Joel. And I also need to obviously stay with my family a little. I can't trade 24 hours a day because I would be divorced if I started trading 24 hours a day. If I trade 16 hours a day, I'd probably divorce too. But okay.
My trade station's coming back. It's coming back.
It'll be back by the end of the show. So Joel's going. Joel feels really naked without charts. He doesn't even know what's going on.
Maybe I'll pull it up on my phone.
All right. I want to go to I here. Intelstat here had another bad day. This is why you don't call bottoms. Don't whatever, catch a falling knife, whatever they want to call it. The headlines yesterday, so they're getting another downgrade this morning from Evercore as a result of what happened yesterday. Several halts I see. If I could find the big headline here, the FCC chairman called for a public auction. Recall there was going to be that private auction between that consortium of foreign companies, one of them being Intelstat, calling now for a public auction of their technology to the telecom providers. And where are we now? $7.
Can I just tell you one of the highlights of the trip so far? It was sitting on a plane with Dennis. We were watching CNBC.
On the Delta plane. Delta's a nice flight.
Yeah. And basically every stock that went by in the ticker, like you had a comment for, or I had a comment
Just off the ticker.
Yeah, just off the ticker. And I goes by, and I remember talking about it on Friday, and we're like, oh, be careful on this one. Don't buy the dip. It's who knows what's going to happen. And I saw it at like 14.5 later in the day, and I'm thinking, oh, this was on Friday. And I'm thinking, oh boy, we were a little too cautious on that one. And then they pulled up on the CNBC ticker. It's in single digits. So what's going? Is there supposed to be an?
It's down another buck here this morning, so we're down another 10% here. And again, Joel's correct. This is why you don't come in and catch the falling knife or pick the bottom or whatever you want to call it. When a stock falls and it's falling on news, sometimes price discovery, sometimes takes a few days or even a couple weeks to shake out everyone. And this stock has not stopped going down. There is no reason to come in and call a bottom on a stock that is going straight down. That is trying to be a hero. And I will tell you from personal experience, I lose money a lot of times when I try to be a hero and call the bottom. Wait till a stock stops going down. Wait till it puts a couple lows in the same area. Wait till you have something to lean on. You have nothing to lean on. It just keeps making new lows every day. I mean, if you thought, oh, well, it's just gone down too far. It was 25, it's down to 8, it's going to come back. Well, the same people were saying that as 15. They just got their capital cut in half in 2 days. Now it's 7. So, and it's the same thing with the pot stocks. And,
well, there's support from a year and a half ago. If you want to lean on that,
there's good support at 0 as well, but we're a long ways away from there too. But it's the same thing with the pot stocks. I mean, we've been talking about the pot wreck, and yesterday again. I mean, I haven't even looked at them this morning, but this Aurora Cannabis is just an absolute disaster. It loses like 15% the day before, and then yesterday, just for fun, we'll just lose another 10% here. We're actually trading down only 1% this morning, so I guess that's a good day for Aurora Cannabis. But I mean, these pot stocks, we had Alan Brockstein on the show yesterday. I asked him a question, which I didn't really expect the response, but I was asking, do you think we could lose some of these companies? And he said we could. He didn't say any specific companies, but obviously we're going to have some massive capital raises needed. These companies, a lot of them are burning cash here. And if you're coming in and calling the bottom, these things, the fundamental story here is very broken right now. There is a demand issue, at least in Canada on some of these Canadian ones. You never want to hear a demand issue. It's one thing about a supply issue. It's another thing about a demand issue. And when demand is obviously not going up or in some cases going down, that is not good news here. So it's the same story. We're going to stay bearish to the pot stocks until they give us a reason to be bullish.
All right. Question from the chat here about retailer we haven't talked about. Or like I meant to bring it up yesterday, if I'm honest. Canada Goose. Question about Goose and the holiday trade. And Goose caught some analyst activity yesterday. D.A. Davidson lowered their price target to $38. Credit Suisse lowered theirs to $62. This is after the company reported earnings Wednesday morning that were up year over year, although I don't have the estimates in front of me here. But Dennis, take a look at this Goose chart.
Didn't they initially on this report, Spencer, and I'm just going from my memory, didn't it pop? Yeah, it popped originally, and they sold that. Again, it's the same issue. When you've got stocks that are trending down and, heavy downtrends for a while here now, we can go from the last year, it was up over $65 and now down at 40. It's obviously going from the upper left to the lower right. So when stocks are trending down, when you get these relief rallies on earnings, they often just have so much overhead supply. Everybody's from last week is like, thank you for giving my money back from last month. Thank you for giving me my money back.
2 problems with Canada Goose coats. And I've just recently been been in the market for a new winter coat. Number one, they're so expensive.
How much are those coats?
They're
they're above your budget.
I'm probably about my pay grade.
Yeah.
Kenny Glick in the house. Kenny Glick is in the house. We're going to mic this guy up here right now. He's just a little late, but it's okay. Kenny's always good to go. He's ready to hit some bids out here.
No, actually, we have the official announcement. He is going to change his name from Hit to Bid to Lift the Offer.
Is that? Are you getting bullish, Kenny? Kenny's been bullish a while. You should have. Yeah, bullish. He's coming on here right now. Look, he's even dressed up. I got that shirt. I think that's my shirt. He says, we saw Kenny for drinks there last night. And I got the one shirt on there, which I got from Costco. And Kenny's like, you cannot wear that shirt tomorrow because I've got the same shirt I'm wearing tomorrow. Kirkland. Anyway, it's a nice shirt. Nice shirt.
Just anyways, they're very, very expensive, and they're too warm. They're really warm. They're really thick. I mean, so you would know. What do you wear up there when you go up to the tundra?
My parka? No, I don't wear. I wouldn't wear $1,000 Canada Goose coat. I'll tell you that. So. But the problem here is just it was a story. It was a hot story for a while. The story's kind of broken, and the fundamentals. There's still value here. There's value here somewhere, but it's still coming down, and the valuation was too extreme. So now that's what you've got the growth potentially slowing a little bit. And what I always talk about, if you got the growth investors in there and you got a story, the valuations don't matter. Once the growth starts to slow, or once the growth guys and girls are scared to come in, then you have this gap, because the value guys like me don't want to come in and buy the thing with a nosebleed valuation. So when you have the growth guys getting out and the value guys not willing to buy, that's when you start to see the price come down very significantly here. So the story is hurting here. The goose story is not a good story here right now.
I believe
Joel's back. We got Joel back. We got Kenny Glick back. You know what? 20 minutes into the show, we're actually coming around
we
here
can
now.
We could stay on a little bit later maybe today if
well, that's true too, because I'm actually probably not going to be trading the open here, so we could do a little extended show. We'll give you guys a little bit extra there, although maybe some people have already left because they didn't get Joel's technicals there and he's not pleased about that.
All right, well, let's see the goose
the goose is loose.
Let's see where it's trading at before
the goose isn't juiced, I'll tell you that.
Trading down. Well, that's not too bad. I mean, it's only trading down.
No, but this was the follow-us from the other day.
You got one level. Well, I almost have to call it two levels here. That earnings day when you had the big range, you traded under $34. You traded to. Nope, that's not $34. That's $34.71. I see that as a low. I don't know. Use that as your support number on the monthly charge, though. You got to go a little bit lower for your monthly charge, your monthly support. Man, we are all through this monthly.
Yeah, we don't like this.
31.67.
$31, Joel says. That's only another 10% down. So you got support down there somewhere. We're getting Kenny mic'd up right now, so we're gonna get his thoughts on some of these stocks as well. Let's move from Goose. Let's move to Roku. Roku obviously been running for days and days and days here. I saw a stat since the earnings report a week and a half ago. The stock is up 38%. So obviously we got down to that 118 level, and just this morning, it is down here this morning. There was some insider selling last night. I believe that is a catalyst. If I'm wrong about that, somebody can correct me. Obviously. Running around here this morning, I didn't get a chance to check all the information sources, but we're down $3 here, so a little bit of insider selling last night from our OKU. But with that being said, the stock has been on an incredible run. Joel, you lost your charts again. What's going on?
No, Spencer.
Bring up Roku.
All right.
This has been on a run. So they bought the dip, obviously. Disney Plus started to obviously kick the
Too much of a run.
And you want to know what else? I got another bullish thing about Roku here. I don't know if this is bullish or bearish.
I know. It's yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday our flight got delayed, so I popped into a Best Buy, and I've been wanting to get Disney Plus, and my Apple TV is third generation. You can't download apps on third generation, so I cannot actually watch Disney Plus on my third generation Apple TV. So I was like, well, I'll just go buy another Apple TV. Well, I went on the Best Buy, and he's like, don't do that. Just buy a Roku stick, $29. I'm like, okay. So I bought a Roku. So I'm actually long. I'm long the actual product. So I'm going to try it out when I get back to Windsor there tomorrow, the Roku stick. So, but usually when me and Joel buy a product, it's usually near the end of the cycle. We're usually the last ones to buy a new product.
All right, what you want to do? It's at 157.16 here, down 292. What you want to do on this one? I'm still trying to get my full data pulled up, but find that pre-market low. See what that low is at 9:29 and 29 seconds. Let's say it's right here at the 157 area. Boom. If you take out that pre-market low, then you know the sellers are still there. If you're looking for a rebound on it, then your pre-market low will hold. And I'm going to customize another chart there and find it for you.
All right, we got Kenny. Are you mic'd up, Kenny?
Check 1, 2. Am I?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. All right. 17 cups of coffee. Ready to rock.
How's it going?
Pretty good, man. How you guys doing?
We're set up. We're going. We're doing
So, Kenny, what I want to tell you, I told these guys, we're on this set, right? Guess what this play is called?
This looks like the last time I did stand-up.
It's called the play.
This is on this actual set.
There's all Kenny's fans there. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's called the play that goes wrong, the play that went wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Is it very apropos for us?
Nice. Oh, they actually do that here? I've actually heard of that show. Yeah, cool. I'm excited. We're like the only ones in here, I think, right?
They didn't let anybody in the venue, so we were supposed.
It's pretty cool that we run this town right now. What's going on? What are you guys talking about
Danny,
so far?
we went through, and we've got a little bit of a retail wreck here this morning. Home Depot reported disappointed. Kohl's reported disappointed. So you got a lot of retailers trading down. Really, the market just shrugs that off, though. The overall market seems to find a catalyst to go up no matter what. And that's what Joel was saying this morning. Why are we up? Why are we trading up here again with so many retail stocks trading down? I mean, this just buy the dip mentality in this market, and any dip. And I mean, the dips now are like 8 or 9 S&P points, like 0.3%.
Right.
And the money manager is backing up. Like, what are your thoughts there? You're bullish.
I am bullish because it's just like 2012, 2013. You can't fight it. The only thing is, what I find to be amazing about this market is that I can name 100 bad stocks before I can name 5 ones that have been trending this whole time. That's why, again, I always throw JC Peretz in this conversation. He makes fun of me. I own the diamonds. If I'm going to buy a stock in this market, let it be the one that goes up every day. DIA. Nobody trades it, doesn't have a lot of volume, but if the market is up, then the diamonds are up. And my dad owns the Qs. So between the diamonds and the Qs, we're pretty full invested, because every stock I picked, U.S. Steel, still waiting for it to get back to 40. I picked up. I thought I had a bottom on AAOI when I was on the show last week. Absolutely rolls over and just goes right back to where it comes from. Bed Bath and Beyond. We're talking about, it's since the pop. I'm still up on it, but again, not going anywhere. But very hard to find individual opportunities, and that's why again I remain liquid. I love what I'm doing lately, and just gone. I'm a throwback to like 1999 of trading. Just stay liquid and doing what I was out there.
Well, the BPY, did you hop in? Was it something technical, or was it the activists? The activists were getting busy in it.
It's funny because this is exactly my attitude towards the market. My first instinct was, who's this guy? And should I short the stock and have it roll back over? But once it didn't roll over, and when I was on your show, Dennis was talking about how we should be looking for that 1170 range to go test. It tested the 1170, and so far so good. Back in it. It's in a little bit of a downtrend, trying to struggle to get back over to that $14.50, $15 area. But I think we're going to see $17 on this stock. And, again, I love these stocks that have already gotten beaten up. So
Do they have any of those? Do they have any of those in New York City here?
Bed Bath and Beyond? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Are they as big as they are everywhere else?
Big stores.
No, not as big. I have one down the block from me, or I call it down the block.
Do you go in there and buy your towels in there?
I get my tooth, what's it called? The water picks there. Anytime I can't think about something to get my wife, I'll go in there and pick up a few things, and coffee machine. It's convenient,
And you always have the 20% coupon.
Exactly. And they never expire, no matter what it says on the ticket.
I know.
Yeah.
They honor them forever.
Yeah.
It expired 1988. Oh, it's
Right.
okay. We'll take it.
And next door is the what's it called? The Best Buy, which again was on the verge of bankruptcy, it seemed.
Yeah.
And what a
They figured it
turnaround!
out.
What a turnaround there.
When we first started the show, we were dogging Best Buy, and Joel was the one that I think was one of the first people to call. This is just a showroom for Amazon, and then CNBC was talking. Everybody was always talking about it, but Joel was saying that all the time. This is just a show. And the stock went from like $60 or $70 down to $11.
Yeah.
And everybody had this for dead. You know what? They figured it out, and the main thing that they just did was the Amazon price matching.
Right.
So they're like, okay, well, we'll match, whatever price is on there, and you can get your product today. So here it is. It's on Amazon. It's $20 cheaper. Okay, that's fine. We'll match it. And that was one of the main catalysts that how they fought off Amazon.
And I was in there. I was in there as I was buying something that I looked at Amazon, and then I was like too lazy to order, so that I went to the store to actually get it. I like getting help, though. That's the thing. You go.
I like getting help too, and I like seeing the TV. I mean, again, you could just look at the TV and then go buy it on Amazon, but now that they got the prices are right.
All right, we got Joel back on the screen. Got his charts back.
Everybody's back.
Everybody's back.
The play that went wrong, the show that went wrong, but it's not going that wrong. We aren't.
Actually, the only thing
that worse.
The only thing that happened was as soon as the show started, Joel's PC just conked out. So
it was actually
otherwise, we'd been perfect. Nobody would have even known.
if not for Joel's PC, we would have been fine.
Joel was in full panic though. The technician, when he didn't have any charts, his eyes were getting bigger. It's like they're coming into the scene of the accident. There, he's like, "Whoa, no charts!" But
he must be ripping us in the chat here.
No, we don't have the chat up.
No, I'm not.
Spencer's got our back in the chat.
I've got the chat up. We're doing okay.
Let's go back to what Kenny was just saying. And you were talking about owning the diamonds and owning the Qs. And let's just talk from an investing standpoint here. And, it sounds like you do a little bit of indexing along with your own trading.
Right.
Like what percentage of, just your capital would you say you apply to, where indexes, buying Qs, buying diamonds versus discretionary trading?
Well, discretionary trading right now is well, I also have my dad as my backer.
There you go.
He was always an investor. He's the one that got me into this. And then my fascination from about the market came right with the bar mitzvah when he's trying to explain where my money was going to go. I'm like, where's the money going? Don't I just get to buy bikes and stuff? But he was explaining to me, and then I started researching. And, I remember I used to go visit the Fidelity Center and get their pamphlets and just read the what was inside the funds. That's how geeky I was right when I was a kid. But we still have the QQQ. My dad, we bought the Qs when the market was crashing, 2008, 2009.
Nice buy.
Yeah, 35, 40, 45, 50.
Yeah.
At 60, we stopped buying. Still has it.
Yeah.
And, I told him, I was like, listen, you give this 10 years, you're going to see these in the 200s again. And as much as I want to say I've taken credit for it, I've told him to sell at 160, 165, 170, 175. And I've been telling him to sell it all year, especially after what happened in December. I was in with Goldman Sachs. I thought there was going to be more volatility. I thought this year would be a little bit different. And it turned out to be just another massive buying opportunity. So, but as far as most of my money, I'm just looking for the next big thing. And, no, not next big thing, because usually 3 days is my hold period now.
Yeah.
So, and I found after 3 days, you're usually reversing trend anyway. I love the bottom picks because usually you'll get that first bottom, and then that next day is the proving ground. If it did catch that bottom, you'll get that 3-day follow through, and that's why I loved Ameren the last couple of days, even on the news. And then Ameren became a short, and then this I stock was.
Talk about I, because this one hasn't stopped going down. Are you playing this? Are you trying to call the bottom on I?
This was one of my bottom picks originally. So if you look at the chart, this thing was almost like a penny stock going back,
years ago you're going
yeah,
to.
I mean, we're talking about maybe 2 years now at this point, right?
Right.
When this came out and got over that coveted 5, some stocks are just
going over 5, it's going to 10.
Right. 5 gets you 750, 750 gets you 10. So when this thing, we're in the it was a really nice clean break at 750. So you got that, it looked like it was just going to roll over and die again. So when it broke 750, I was like, I don't know what the stock is, but I'm loving it. So from 750 up to around 17, and we did pretty well with it. Consolidated. I thought that was going to be it, and rolled over, and then it took off and became some, lunatic stock up to like almost $38, $39. But now, I don't know what the story is, and we were joking around about it that it was Barron's that started this.
It was not.
It wasn't Barron's?
No. They covered it. They were one of the only ones to cover it right off the bat, but they didn't start this.
Okay.
I would actually say maybe JP Morgan started this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I missed the original story.
So we can recap it yesterday. We can recap it again though.
Sure.
Because the story starts down 14% again today.
Actually, wasn't it the temper sell at Appaloosa? Wasn't that before the downgrade? I'll look in pro.
But this is with the asset sale, correct?
Okay.
Wow.
Spencer's got the story.
So Kenny, there's this alliance, right? The C-band alliance of 3 foreign companies, of which Intelsat is one of them. This alliance was gonna have a private auction to auction off their 5G technology to the telecom providers, right? AT&T, Verizon,
right.
etc. Private auction, 3 foreign companies to U.S. companies. U.S. government was like, no, we don't want to do a private auction to foreign companies. So JP Morgan came out and said this private auction might not go down the way we thought it was going to go down. So they downgraded the stock. That's what started all this madness. Now you got the chairman of the FCC saying, yeah, no private auction, public auction. So that's sort of how this started.
Wow.
And now if you look even this morning, the analysts are continuing to gang up on it. We know analysts chase price. You have Evercore this morning here trading down or giving a price target of $11. They're lowering it to, they call it in line. I don't know why Evercore does that. They have those weird, they don't do neutral, they do inline. What's their other one, Spencer? That's weird. That's their neutral.
Yeah.
Oh, the upgrades
are
down.
Buy on this. We look really bad right now for telling us to buy on this, so we better lower it to neutral.
Right. Well, we're short-term bearish, long-term bullish, but intermediate we have no idea. But the upgrades and downgrades have always been hilarious.
Let's talk an upgrade and downgrade here. Griffin looks like Griffin 11 says a downgrade in AT&T this morning, a price target of $30. Yeah, you seen that, Mr.
That's
Moffat-Nathanson.
It's Moffat-Nathanson.
To sell. You know what? You wonder. And MoffettNathanson does make some pretty good calls. They're not as followed, but it will be impactful. And if we look at AT&T this morning, it is trading down here in the pre-market. I'll just give it to you. It's down 1.7%. And you see that sell word, it spooks people too. And AT&T has had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been running on AT&T, going up there to test the $40 level. You think about this, and I kind of thought the story was, just a dividend story there for a long time too. When it's back at 30, well, it became a little bit of a momentum story too. When the activists got in there and obviously shaking up and putting that potential, what they say, $54 it could eventually go to if they did things right. Well, anyways, it got back to 40. So MoffettNathanson is hitting the sell button. They're putting a $30 price target on it, and downgrading to sell. Kenny, are you trading AT&T, and what are your thoughts?
I haven't looked at it, but when it hits $34, buy it.
34. Why? Tell us about your thought process.
Multi-time frame VWAP. I'm looking at
VWAP. We got to bring it in. We knew we were going to bring it in.
That's where
He's on the show for 10 minutes.
The show is sponsored by VWAP.
It's kind of where it broke out from, around that 33, 34 area. So if it's going to pull back, that's your area right there, around 34 and a half actually. So I've never looked at AT&T. Kind of like that.
Boring for
it's
you.
almost like watching Bank of America.
I think
Yeah.
I think I'll be retired by the time AT&T gets to 34. I mean, $30, the stock going down $9. I mean, what are they thinking? What are they thinking?
Well, I came from there, so they're thinking that the rally is
$9.
They think the rally isn't real.
I mean, what will the yield be when it's going to be at? I mean, they'll keep buying it the whole way down.
It was $30 just back in, when was it 30 here? If I go to the chart, it was $30 6 months ago.
That's like
last 6 months ago.
You know what? This guy is this guy's friends with that guy that downgraded Apple from
MoffettNathanson.
Yeah, he's friends with this guy from Maxim that downgraded Apple.
Oh, I think Joel's making that up, but
if you don't mind,
downgrade got bought immediately. I mean, this is a stock that is trending up. So when typically you see downgrades on stocks trending up, they often get bought. Stocks that seem to get downgraded, they're trending down. So often continue to go down.
Right.
So, but talk about the VWAP. Bring this back in because we have some listeners that maybe aren't familiar with, how you're coming up with this number. Talk about how you derived the $34 price target with using the VWAP.
Well, what this is doing is just basically grabbing the VWAP from every single day and just dividing by the amount of days that I've had it.
How many days?
I'm looking at I just grabbed a big number. So I'm looking at a 3-year VWAP.
3 years.
3 years. And, 2 years ago, I was like, why would this even matter? But if I look at quickly looking at the chart, once we're all technical analysis here.
Guys. Can we see what you're looking at? Let's see if we can show the screen.
Oh yeah, we can show our screen.
Yeah, let's see if we can show Kenny's screen here, so he can show our listeners what he's talking about. Right there we go. All right, let's see what we got, Kenny. Explain this to us.
Right there, that dotted orange line right now. That's taking 3 years of daily VWAP, even the pre-market and aftermarket, and combining all together and giving me one price. And what I started to find, I've been trading for 20 years and doing technical analysis. You quickly look at this chart, I would just say your support is around $35. I look at the highs and lows of candlesticks and where they've met. So I started to notice that anytime I did some sort of my own technical analysis, I would throw VWAP and whatever time frame I needed, and it would just spit out a number really, really similar to what I was looking at. And so I started just using VWAP specifically. And there's only one thing that I've seen that's better is Brian Shannon has this anchor VWAP. So he could just automatically grab, let's say you want to see where the high is from this peak at 43 and then bring it down to that 27 and then boom, it'll give you a new VWAP. So he could click on the screen and bring it to any events, as he calls it, bring it to the highs, to the lows, and it gives you a VWAP. For me, I've been sticking with, 1 month, 3 months, 6 month, 9 month. And, it's been pretty cool. But going back to that upgrade and downgrade thing, I wanted to ask you a question. I mean, I know you guys do a lot of upgrades and downgrades.
Sure.
Don't you find that a lot of the upgrades come at the worst possible time?
Oh, for sure.
Oh, my God. Pull up, what was that stock? Grub.
Yeah.
Pull up Grub.
Yeah, bring up Grub, and
Okay.
you look at you pick the day, and you tell me what day it had 9 downgrades. You guess which day it had 9 downgrades.
Oh, 9 downgrades?
9 downgrades on the same. It's like Ferris Bueller.
Would it be recently, like
days,
October 21st?
9 downgrades.
Down at the bottom there? Well, it's just like.
What day do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It was the low. That was low. And Joel called it on the show. He's like, when you get 9 downgrades on the same day,
yeah,
His
bound to
head-
be the bottom.
right, and just like Smile Direct. I mean,
Yeah. Well, there's other things going on there because obviously they have the underwriters and all come up with a buy rating on it. But on that day was such a tell because he had so much positive analyst action on that stock, because a lot of obviously conflicts of interest here, we'll say, because the underwriters are not going to come out and tell you to sell the stock.
Wink, wink.
Yeah, but when you come out and you've got so much positive action, and the stock actually starts to go down and closes down on the day, that was a huge tell.
It didn't just go down; it got destroyed.
But it was up like 4 or 5% in the pre-market. We said on the show, if this rolls over and starts to go red, Katie bar the door, this is going to get ugly. And it did. And they crushed it, and they continued to crush it for a few days after that. And obviously, and where are we now on Smile Direct? Is this $7? It's
got to be $7, yeah.
Where is my Smile Direct?
It is. I just want to go back to this AT&T here for 1 second.
Yeah.
No. Just because this guy Moffat-Nathanson, he's looking at the monthly charts and he's seeing it bump against 40. And you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months in a row back in late 2017. So he's looking at that as major resistance. What I like about what Kenny said is when I look at this move from 28 to 40, I think a 12-point move, right? So I think 50% retracement comes into that $34 area. But I mean,
for instance, my 6-month VWAP's telling me 35. I could scroll down to a 1 month, or also let me see what the 1 month.
In all
is.
situations, it's telling you to buy the dip.
Right. Bottom line.
But it's trending. I mean, you are always, if you're following VWAP, you are buying strong stocks and selling weaker ones, really, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because the stocks are trending down, you're getting a pop up into it, and that's why it works so well. It's just, because typically you don't see huge V's going, or you see stocks that they get hit, and then they have hope, and, they come back up a little bit there, and then the next wave of selling comes in. Well, if you're always following VWAP, you're always selling a stock.
Are they paying down some of their debt? I
AT&T?
mean, that's why you were so bearish at 30.
I don't say I'm bearish, but that's why I sold out. I had AT&T for a long time, and I've been nervous about AT&T because they do have a lot of debt, and I didn't want to cheat on my hands. They still do. They've made some bad investments. Let's be honest. DirecTV. When we're all going streaming here now, you've made a huge investment in DirecTV.
Whenever there's a kiosk at the mall trying to sell you something, it's not a good business model, because they have the DirecTV kiosk there next to the guy that wants to redo my bathroom, and then he also want to join DirecTV. Yeah.
Everybody's started cutting the cord. Well, let's go buy DirecTV. So they've made some.
That was a while ago. But HBO, they bought the HBO. I mean, now who knows?
Too soon.
Content's okay.
Too soon to tell.
Yeah, that's always too soon to tell. But when you're going to DirecTV, I mean, when everybody's been cutting the cord, and obviously we're moving to streaming, that was not, that was. I didn't give them a break a little bit. It was got to be 5 or 6.
I love my AT&T cell service. I've had that forever, and they keep it. I think it's great. So, AT&T. We also have it on house phone because of the alarm, and then the Comcast. Don't ask me why we don't do all bundled together, but Lisa doesn't want to have to rely on one company all the time. So we got the Comcast AT&T spread going on.
So I'm all Verizon in. Everything I got in my house now is Verizon.
Oh, wait, you got Verizon?
Yeah.
Did you get Disney Plus through Verizon?
No, I didn't.
You get it for free.
What is that?
Disney Plus?
Oh my God, that's right, Disney Plus. I didn't hear you what you said.
Yeah, Disney
I
Plus.
get it for free. They give something away for free.
You get 1 year
call
free.
my wife. Hold on.
This is why so many subscribers. Text her
You
right
get
now.
1 year Disney Plus free through Verizon.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
cool. I'll go check it out. I can watch The Mandalorian. He's part man. He's part DeLorean. Guest star Michael J. Fox.
I like the Star Wars. So.
I want to move on. 2 things. One from the chat. You get a compliment, Kenny, from Beginner Mitch. He likes your charting style.
Thanks.
And also, we got a question about Clovis Oncology, CLVS. They want us to look at this chart.
Nice one. We were in there.
You were. Tell us what
once
you saw.
Once it got back above 5 here. I mean, this was some disaster. But yeah.
That's how I like your charts too, because I'm actually just watching the show now. I'm just watching Kenny's charts here, the close, because I don't have any charts hardly at all here. Way better than my charts. So I'm like, oh, this is good.
I'm trying to find something.
That's why you actually bought some charting software with them. This is excellent.
So this was just again, the idea of something getting back above 5. I think if I could find the VWAP that we were looking at for that day, but for us it was more or less, hey, this thing's gapping above 5. It's probably going to start headed towards that 750. And on a shorter term, let me see what I got.
I just want to stop you for a second, because that $5 number is so critical, because that is where in most brokers securities become marginable.
Some firms.
And a lot of brokers securities become marginable, and especially some of the big houses. So you have big money that all of a sudden can play,
they
harder.
can buy it. Yep.
Yeah, and that's why it's important when a stock loses 5. That's when these stocks start to get in a lot of trouble because all of a sudden they're not marginal, and people are going to have to be starting to sell just because they don't have the margin that they did before. So that's why 5 is such a critical number for stocks. So I like that point you're making.
So do you care anything about like what the company's actually doing? Like oncology? No, I'm serious because most people don't.
And here's well, I'll go back to what I believed in. There was a company called ICPT, which I'm friends with a pediatric surgeon, and he got me into that stock. He's like, they got it all wrong, and they're going to cure this in kids, and I forgot the whole story, but the story with Clovis again. This stock has gone from boom to bust to boom to bust to boom to bust so many times. I don't exactly know what they do, but apparently it's pretty volatile. But if you look at my chart right now, look at the number 498. That was our 3-month VWAP. So getting over that line and getting over 5 simultaneously, that's when we start looking for this thing to get back to.
You looking for a couple closes or just ticks 501 and you're in? Or
yeah. Usually it's, for me, this whole market, because of the algos and how it's taken over,
you can miss it.
Some of these trades are triggered by a penny. So like, I forgot what trade it was the other day, but it got to 22.37 and our trigger was 22.39. It never got there, and that became resistance, and the stock rolled right back over. So some of these times it really comes down to a penny, and that's what I find fascinating on the Roku sell-off. I did when I was over in Stocktoberfest. I've never seen a trade, especially on over $100 stock, trade to the penny. So when this thing rolled over, it was like 156.20, and that broke. And the next monthly VWAP under there was 127.38. It went to 127.38 and bounced that day. And the next day, when it broke that price, our next level was around 101.50, whatever it was, and it went right to that chart. So it basically, I've always found it fascinating. Again, that's why I'm still doing this, because this stuff, it's fascinating to me how it continues to work. And I used to question why this works so well. I'm done questioning it. But going back to those upgrades and downgrades, one of my
just one more thing. The reason I asked you on that, because I remember holding the deck on the floor, and there would be stop close only orders.
Right.
So they would be like, if it closed above 3,010, then they wanted to buy 500.
Right.
But like the broker would be looking there, it's trading at 309.75, and you don't know the exact close. But maybe, I don't know if people are doing that as much, like stop close only orders. I don't know. Can you send that on the floor anymore? Do they have those SCOs or stop close only?
No. So you can do like the market. So a stop close is meaning if it trades below this, it's going to stop.
Like above. Like if it's a buy stop close only, you only want to buy it above a certain level.
You can participate like on the close, but you can't be doing stops with the closes, as far as I know. But different brokers do have different order types as well. So what they do on the floor, sometimes they have some different order types available on the floor too, which obviously we've had. Who's our floor trader that we always bring on?
Jonathan Corpina.
Yeah, Jonathan Corpina, and he's got different types of orders that are available to him as a floor broker that aren't available elsewhere as well. So there is some different types of orders, but as far as I know, that order doesn't exist anymore, Joe.
What I found is that again, you want to see a chart that this is my typical. This is how VWAP really was.
Here, I took your screen, but grab it back.
Okay.
So I just hijacked you, but you just grab it back for us. And then also, after we do this, we got a question whether or not you traded KRTX yesterday.
Sadly, I was not in that. Wow.
That was an incredible move. Joel and I were on the plane, so we were blown away when we watched.
Wait, what was happening? Oh, my central vac wasn't working. This is the year where everything's breaking in my house, and my wife's renovating upstairs, so I've had some contractors in the house. But this is a typical trade for me. This is GDOT, another stock that I've never heard of, gets lit up. The stock's been trending down, and this is the I don't know if you guys, let me move these windows over here. The stock's hovering below the 1 minute. See the blue line? I don't know if you guys get a good shot of what I'm looking at.
Yep,
here.
we see it.
You're just hovering below the 1 minute. This is your standard VWAP. My dotted orange is something usually I'm looking at a multiple time frame VWAP up there. But here we have this, hits the VWAP, can't break it. Hits the VWAP, can't break it. So your downtrend is still intact, but the stock is exhausted. You're not rolling over and breaking new lows. So come the end of the day, look at these volume spikes, and what are we coinciding with? We're finally getting over that 1 minute VWAP. I'm a buyer right here at 23.80, and I'm using the bottom of that range, obviously, for a stop. So at this point, I'm looking at the most I'm risking is 25 cents on the trade. So if you're buying a couple thousand shares, which most of us can do that with a $23, $24 stock, this thing immediately pops. You're talking about 60-cent move. We're selling into this move, and then we're using VWAP as our out on the rest. And then we get this massive parabolic move for another buck into the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you're a day trader, and I'm going back to the days where we are just trying to make a day's pay every day. I don't want to have, the idea. I had a nice run, from when my dad and I were buying the Qs and the diamonds when the market was crashing. I cashed out at 2017. I thought that was good. Dow 20,000. I claimed victory. I made a nice call there. And, I've been sort of bearish since, but not dumb enough to fight this market. But you give me this kind of a move, I find these moves 4 or 5 times a day. A lot of times it's the beginning chop after that first 15 minutes of chop. Yeah. A lot of times it's on a stock that's gapped down or up on an earnings report. And once that makes its mind up, just like NVIDIA the other day, chopping around, nobody knew what to make of it. And then it rolled over, broke the VWAP, and you tanked 6 points. But then at the end of the day, same situation, hovering below it. But this is the type of trade where, what are we trying to do here? We're just trying to make a living, right? So you sitting here, you just gotta, we're stalking. We're sitting there like we call ourselves panthers in the woods, never get off the boat. Never get off the boat. So we're just sitting here waiting. And plus you're getting over the VWAP, you're breaking that whole number. The shorts got caught flat-footed, and bang, you get a nice $1.50, $1.65 rip into the close. Why not? I'll sit there and wait for those trades all day. And that's, again, I don't know anything about this company. And boom, there's a nice trade for you also.
It's a classic breakout there, really. You're just using it maybe not on a price side. You're using it on that VWAP. So you're looking when it breaks out over the VWAP, which is maybe something some other people aren't looking at, because you often see these breakouts when it's just based on price.
Right.
They sometimes fail because everybody's looking at the same level. This isn't as obvious to a lot of other people. So, you've got a little niche there that you found. And obviously, it is a change, and sometimes in trend even. And when you get stock coming down, it comes back over it. So you're identifying it early enough that, hey, maybe some people who are shorts are going to be a little bit nervous about this now starting to go up. We can squeeze them a little bit off the bat, and then maybe eventually get some real buyers here at the end that pushes it even farther.
We talk about
you just spoke that's the exact premise of the whole thing.
We call it seller buyers exhaustion. When a stock gets killed a lot, and it's just like, okay,
everybody's out.
Everyone's out.
Everybody was out on that crowd, and including all the analysts, apparently.
Right.
Kenny, we're getting a question from Lombardo in our chat here. Can you share your settings on Thinkorswim? Like, how do you get the VWAP and all that on there?
Oh, secret sauce.
No.
Well, some of it is a secret sauce. Yeah.
Okay.
At one point, the multiple time frame VWAP is exactly. I'm giving it away just by the title. You can find it on the internet, but if you don't know how to put it to use, it takes a while to get familiar with what parameters you want to use. Okay. But generally, your standard that blue line is your standard VWAP. That's basically your 1 minute VWAP. I'll show you how to get it. So if you go to studies and you go to add studies, you're going to have to go to the all studies. It's buried in there. You got to go down to the V's.
The good stuff's always buried.
Yeah, you go down to the V's and,
just lost it.
Hit the VWAP. Yeah, there it goes. Wait, hang on. All studies. Bang. And down to your V's. And then you see it in there.
Yep, there we go.
On top. So VWAP right there, that's going to give you, and also they give you the option to give deviation bands. But deviation bands, they do come in handy. I keep them in light gray because I'm not focusing my attention on that because I have the multiple time frame VWAP on there also. But they do come into play when you're getting that parabolic move or the capitulation low. I go -1, +1, -2, +2. So you'll get a little bit of feel. And what I've been told, and a lot of these guys, and again, I can't comment too much on this, but if you look down, there's something called volume profile. So my students who I've been teaching, every time I'm thrusting VWAP on them as the only thing you need, a lot of guys are saying volume profile is a nice handy dandy tool to have coinciding with it. Can't comment too much about it, but I'm
Stottlemyre, is that Stottlemyre market profile?
I don't know.
Is that with all the letters like AAA and BBB, or is it now?
Like I said, okay. I'm about to start. I've had this week alone 4 or 5 people have asked me about it, so I'm actually going to start investigating. Yeah,
that was
tell us a story how you discovered the VWAP, because obviously you were not always trading on this, and you were skeptical of it originally. Which I've been skeptical of a lot of different technical indicators before, but I tell you, you're starting to sell me on this VWAP a little bit. Right. I might actually add some of this to my charts, but tell us how you discovered this, and and how it affected your trading.
All right. Like I said, I refer to myself as just the VWAP. I'm Darth Vader of the VWAP empire. we have the all-knowing God of VWAP, Brian Shannon. Brian Shannon was the first person I've heard mention it, using it on a daily basis. And we've all heard of VWAP. This is something that's been around for years.
Institutions use it, and this is a lot of reason why it works too. The big money uses this.
That's why the implied move is where the money's gone in. That's why VWAP, I think, is the best. And I had a fella, his name Zach Hurwitz. He came into our room, and he was just a member of the room. And he started seeing, my red lines on the screen. That's where I'm plotting my own support and resistance based on the candlesticks, and I've been using that for 20 years. So he said, do you realize you're plotting VWAP and multiple time frame VWAPs, inertly? And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So he's like, can you do me a favor? I will give you this code, and I will show you my charts and have them run coinciding with your charts. And for 6 months, I was like, wow. We're like maybe 15 cents off on all this stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let your charts do the talking for me. And now, more often than not, it was just stocks were gravitating towards it or coming back down to it. So it was more like a reversion to the mean, more or less. Yeah. So it wasn't just these clean breaks that I'm showing you like on that G-dot trade. It was more like after you plotted, especially a stock that's gone parabolic, and that day where it gaps up, it chops around up there, no more buyers, you're going to revert to the VWAP. So I just started watching that, and that became my only trade. We've morphed it into 4 or 5 different ways to watch it, but the evolution for me was just it had to be proven to me.
You still talk to Zach at all?
Yeah. He started the website. I think his website's called thevwap.com.
Yeah, I met him through another guy I was talking to that's starting a hedge fund.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, he uses a lot of big words. He's a lot smarter than I am. He's a lot smarter than most people. I have to use a thesaurus when he's talking to me. I'm like, hang on. I'm not
Google thesaurus.
You got to dumb it down a little bit for me.
Come on, you took that English at Brooklyn College, right?
Yeah. That was the last time I did acid also. So we were doing Charlotte's Web or something like that. And I'm like, what are we talking about? What was the other book by Charlotte's Web? And I wrote this real scathing report because I always found in English Lit, it's everyone interprets it. And then you have your professor talking about what the author meant. I'm like, what do you know? And I'm sitting there being all skeptical. And at the next day, she's like, we have a report that I've never read anyone with this type of take on this book. And if he doesn't mind, would you come up and read the report? And Kenny Glick, would you please come up? I'm like,
no, it had to be Kenny. Hit the bed.
What? And I was like, really? She's like, I haven't given an A+ on a report ever.
You got A+ on this one.
Yeah. And it was just because I was sitting in class just like bugging out, listening to this story. I'm like, I'm not feeling this at all. I'm looking at it the whole different way. I'm thinking about eating the animals. So I wrote this really just awful, ripped into the book report. And she found it hilarious and insightful. And I was LSD, baby.
You were a hot take artist before that was a thing, Kenny.
What?
You were a hot take artist before that became a thing.
Right.
Kenny offered hot takes in middle school. But question from the chat here about Etsy. If I go back to the market,
Etsy?
Yeah.
Where's that? I haven't looked at Etsy for a few days.
The question is,
the
question is Etsy a bit oversold here?
Oh, you know what? It was a storied stock for a long time, and the story is hurting here. I would say it's not broken yet, though. So this is one you got to keep an eye on because the story could get hot here again. Like we talk about stories being broken with the pot stocks. The fundamental story is broken there yet. Etsy was just, it ran maybe a little bit too far, and I think you get to this point here. Maybe there is a point or it's going to start to turn here again. So I'd say, you watch it. Joel doesn't have its charts up again, but you get a few lows in the same area here. I mean, there's some support down here. I could get on board. What's Kenny? Oh, I don't know what Kenny says, though.
That's a big red bar, man. You got to give it a couple more days. And also the oversold term, like oversold.
Kenny's our buy the dip guy here.
Okay.
Kenny likes to call bottoms.
You are there. You're
there.
You're looking.
New York Etsy bottom.
Here we are. I mean, look where my support.
And that's not a buy recommendation. Sorry. That's not a buy
We
recommendation.
don't.
We don't give
Can you read that disclaimer again, Spencer?
Yeah, read that disclaimer right now.
This is an exactly situation that I just started to use this multiple time VWAP. Look, this is a 3-year VWAP chart.
There's
Telling
some nice support here.
38.62, right?
Yeah.
So my lines were already here because I think I did some homework on this one for somebody else. I was thinking around $40, 39.90, 40, and you got this multiple time frame VWAP at 38.62. But if you break that, look at this massive candle. That's the
problem.
So if you're breaking that 38 and change, you're going down another 5 at least. Your real support's obviously right there. Obviously, I must have did some homework for somebody on this one. So $28. And again, not a fan of Etsy. This is like Roku. I don't understand the company. You're pasting some googly eyes on a stick and you sell it, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
Then we make stuff and then we sell it on Etsy.
Right. Yeah.
So a little homemade project.
Actually,
it's like
data.
Michael's out of business, which it kind of did.
And what happened with that stock?
Oh, it's
Wow.
I started to try to come back, Michael's MIK.
Oh, come back. It was like it went from 2 to 10 in a day.
That was impressive.
What was that all
really,
about?
when you ask the people who bought it at where it was $40 or $50 before, they're probably not over
that was some squeeze.
But they do. And that's what happens is, stocks do get squeezed here over time. But
by the way, I love this background.
Yeah, just looks like he's in a haunted house or something.
Yeah, something.
There's a ghost are gonna pop out from behind the window. They're all creeped out here. I watched too many horror movies when I was a kid. But going back to the Etsy, one thing that I like about Kenny, and the one thing I will say about all traders who are successful, is you always have to have a contingency plan. So you come in, you say, okay, if this VWAP holds, I'm gonna buy it here. If it holds, I'm gonna ride it for a bit. But when it doesn't hold, you get out.
Right.
And you have so many traders that say, well, I'm not going to sell. Now I'm down in it. You don't sell at a loss.
Yeah.
And this is what it's back to discipline here. The one reason that you've been in this business for, 20 or 25 years successfully here is because you have discipline. Correct?
It's it's School of Hard Knocks, of course. I was we call it the let's see what happens. Once your day trade suddenly becomes a swing trade, suddenly you're an investor.
Becomes a long-term investment.
Yeah, right. And that's usually
suddenly becomes a tax write-off.
Right. Yeah. It's the let's see what happens syndrome. Like, oh well, I should have taken the loss there. Let's see what happens. And let's see what happens usually gets worse. And the funny thing is, even when it gets worse, you always tend to sell it at the worst possible time. After you get to that threshold where you should have, and then you finally dump out of it, that's usually the low. So again, with the VWAP and these multi-time frame VWAPs, your entries are pretty good. So when you're wrong, it's not a bad loss. And you just again, sometimes you have to revisit, and that's where part of that you have to swallow the ego and say, oh man, I just lost on this. But now it's doing what I thought it was going to do. Get back in. And for me, again, it's staying short term has helped me a lot these last couple of years.
You like to use physical stops, or do you just kind of mental stops and just get it?
Yeah, usually it's part physical, part they call the human stop, and then there's I better put this in just in case I lose my focus for a second. So I'll have both in. Usually, again, if I'm with 1,000 shares, I'll have 3 stops, because again, when I had a mentor too, like everybody should. And he said, if you get in, getting into your position all at once is not the best idea either if you're thinking about accumulating. But usually for us, we're getting in. It's the getting out where you should always peace out. He said it's arrogant trading. If you sell your position, even for a loss, you're being arrogant, because do you really think that's going to be the best price of the day to get out of your entire position? Right. So I was like, I didn't understand it at first. And I was like, but now, 25 years later, I still apply what he taught me,
All right, we're a few minutes past.
No, that's okay. But Kenny, you've got some big fans in the chat, both chats actually. So
he always does when we bring
they asked where to reach you. I said hitthebid.com. Is that right?
Well, I go by the Warlock now.
Okay.
Appropriate background.
Right. Oh, I love it, man. Email me at thewarlock@hitthebid.com. And if you can't remember that, info@hitthebid.com. But if you Google my name, I'm somebody. I've got leather-bound books in the house. Just Google my name, Kenny Glick. But yeah, thewarlock@hitthebid.com, easiest way to reach me.
Someone said it looks like you're on the set of The Shining right now.
Yes.
It kind of does.
Actually.
Kind of does. Actually.
By the way, that movie was good. If you want to see a good movie, the Mr. Sleep, is it called? the follow-up to The Shining.
I heard about that.
Really
It was
good movie.
Yeah,
not scary, but it was a really good movie.
All right. I do want to cover. We missed TJX. They were at 8:30, and I kind of
like that when they have
back to stocks.
I kind of meant to go there, and I
well,
forgot.
the whole retail bar. Let's just stop here for a second. I haven't looked at TJX yet, but I'm just going to say the whole retail bar has been set really low for today because we've had obviously some massive disappointments. So, I would say TJX is anything okay.
So
it's
let me
probably
tell
going
you.
to rally.
So let me tell you what they did. Q3 EPS beat by 2 cents, 68 versus 66 cents. Sales beat 10.5 versus $10.32 billion. They gave guidance. The Q4 EPS guidance was a smidge light, and their full year EPS guidance was in line. So what do you think? It was a good report. They beat.
I think with the bar being set so low for all I think the stock's probably trading higher. Am I right?
Yes.
And this is like, and obviously everybody's got their own, little shtick how they trade. And Kenny uses the VWAP, he uses a lot of other things. I use relationships. Most of my trading is based on relationships. And what is happening here with other stocks in the sectors? Has the bar been set lower? Home Depot misses, Kohl's misses. We got a retail wreck. Hey, we had one that reported okay. It's going to probably rally.
Right. How did Home Depot really? I thought Home Depot would have blown their number away. Wow. How much is it down?
Lowered the sales guidance. It's come back though. We're only down $8 here now. We were down 20 at one time. It was probably close to your VWAP number, Kenny.
And let me show you exactly why it's a buy. It's been a buy ever since this morning. Yeah. So for us, if we get that massive gap down, let me get back.
Mr. Israel's coming back to get the charts.
Where is it again?
No, I'm getting your charts.
Get
back.
the shining background gone. Show us the charts.
It's okay. We got it.
Getting creeped out here.
Show us what we got.
Oh, okay. So this is a typical trade that I would be doing, gapping down on a report on a great stock. So you're 1 minute.
That's the key, though, too, on a great stock.
Yeah.
You get on these gapping down on a bad report on a garbage stock,
right.
You're not nearly as interested.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, unless, you get your follow through to the VWAP. But right now, the reason I love earnings season is that you're getting a pre-market VWAP that actually is significant. Because on a daily basis, you got 600 shares trading on a stock. You got a dot here, a dot here, a dot here. It's no significance at all. What's the volume on Home Depot at this point? What do we got?
Got to be at least a couple hundred.
We're trading some shares, but again, the big volume is going to come in when the big players are after 9:30. 99% of your traders don't even start until that.
Right.
The institutions don't come in that often in the pre-market. There's some that are trading, but
217,000.
Okay, that's not
big volume.
I got 580. I got 580.
500,000.
That
It's
could have been
decent, right? So your massive reaction down was 220, basically, right?
Yeah. News out goes sell.
Immediately a big number right there. I love a whole number hold. But then within 2, 3, 4 minutes, you're back above that 223, which was the 1 minute VWAP already. But what's happening now is it's testing the VWAP here, and you're holding it. You're in an obvious uptrend. So now that it's finally topped out a little bit as you're reverting back to the VWAP, now if you're in this stock right now, you have no choice. That's your stop. So if you're in from that first right here, you're in from 223, 224, you already had a 7-point move.
Yeah.
And now you know where you're getting out because there's no reason to own this thing if it breaks back below the VWAP. And that's when you start, plotting your own ranges. So where did it test the VWAP earlier? That's what's going to happen. You're going to break 228 and a quarter, and you're probably going to be going down at least another $1.50. If not, then testing these levels. And there you go. You have your roadmap already to the Home Depot move. And now you're seeing up there, I think I'm looking at the 1 minute on the 1 day, which is my standard chart. So I'm looking at today's 1 minute, and then that dotted orange line, it's grabbing whatever data's already come in this morning and yesterday's pre-market, real market, and post-market. And that's giving me that 237 area. Now, if anybody'd be surprised to see this thing take off and close green, you haven't been watching this market because any decent stock has been a buy on dips, except Cisco. That was the only one that's disappointed me so far this year. That one did not come back, and I was very surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this one's already looking like, you might want to start taking some profits if you did buy that dip already.
I want to get your quick thoughts just on Disney. We've obviously had a lot of news on Disney as of late with the launch of Disney Plus last week, and obviously the subscriber numbers. We've got a note from Rosenblatt here this morning. They are they're just coming out with a price target of 175, so they're raising their price target, and they are saying that they see a potential 21 million viewers by year end. I think that estimate could even be light. So Disney's trading up slightly in the pre-market. The other catalyst here for Disney, though, and I know how I like my event run-up trades, is you got Frozen 2 coming out on Friday. This movie is going to be huge.
You love your movie trades.
I do. And
Yeah.
you know what? They seem to work, especially with Disney. Frozen 2 is going to be big. It's got great reviews already. My kids are like Frozen kids. They're all about Frozen. So you've got that potential for an event run-up here, too. But I want to know what you're saying from the VWAP perspective on DIS.
Well, that one's we're trading 52-week highs every day now, so it's a little bit different. This is something, if you're looking to buy it, I'll go to a near-term VWAP. Sometimes I'll use a 5-day, but for this one, the real breakout was that 138 area. So if by some chance this comes to 138 again, you're a buyer. But I'm, between Disney and Tesla, those are my two favorite stocks right now. I mean, I love Disney. I've always loved Disney because I'm a geek. So, I mean, I could still go to Disneyland. My kids don't even want to go anywhere. I'm like, we're going. we're riding the small world again. Yeah.
And I love the Haunted Mansion.
Everything about Disney.
Have you been to Blizzard Beach?
I've been there.
I haven't. I can't get. Lisa, we can't. We've been trying to go there. I want to go. I hear they have this slide that is just like straight down, like a couple different stores.
I've done that.
You're a thrill taker, right, Joel?
Oh,
You're a thrill taker. See, I don't like this.
Yeah, well, those
You don't
ones,
like
I got a
those?
hernia
No,
one time on one of those slides. So,
Oh, those slides are fun when they used to have like the 3 different tracks. You know, we used to race each other. Then you could go up and you could go into the other guy's lane. If you got high enough on the wall, you could go up and then swoop into the other guy's lane and knock him off his.
It sounds like Action Park. You ever been to Action Park? You probably guys don't know about it.
I know about
Oh
Action
my
Park.
God! If you didn't get hurt or possibly a broken arm,
there is a documentary coming out. Do you know about that? Yeah.
As a trader, I'm all about risk return. And I will tell you, these rides sound like a lot of risk and not a lot of return for me. And that's probably why I'm not a big thrill ride seeker.
Those big slides, I could still taste the bathing suit that got caught in my throat.
Note to self, not interested in Action Park.
But I love Disney. Again, the streaming wars are on. I mean, I don't know how people can pick a content provider at this point now. But I still like these free websites. I mean, there are so many websites that you Google, and because I'm a big Trekkie, I'm not as much as a Star Wars guy, but there's a new show, Star Trek Discovery. So
do you pay for CBS to get that?
Absolutely not. I go to these free websites, and next thing you know, all 3 seasons are just sitting there. I got to sit through some porn commercials, and I hope I'm like.
I was just gonna say I didn't want to hear about.
It's like
I did want to hear about Kenny's free websites. That's what I didn't want to hear.
Jesus. Oh my goodness.
You can't help it. Every commercial, they want me to buy some sort of product from I don't know, some woman.
All right. Oh man. On that
When he said free websites, I knew we were in a problem.
We're going down a slippery slope there. No pun intended.
I won't mention names.
Okay, I think on that note, we should wrap it up. We did get a comment. Well, we got a comment. This is one of our best shows ever, so I want to thank you guys for bearing with us. Not a lot went wrong today. Joel's computer kind of commented out, but we got a pretty good
show that went wrong. The show that went right.
It went considering that
it all went out Joe and Kenny came.
Considering at 7:30, a half hour before the show, we had nothing set up yet, so we managed ourselves pretty well.
We got internet at 7:30.
We got internet, and we got access to our room at 7:30. So Kenny, thank you so much for joining us.
This is awesome.
Down,
Thanks.
Hanging out. Thank everyone for bearing with us in the chats and online. If you missed our show, catch the podcast or rewatch us on YouTube. If you're going to be coming out today, come on down.
Plenty of seats.
Plenty of seats.
Kenny's family will be over there. His mother, his father.
I'll be singing at 10:15.
New World Stages in Midtown. Joel and Dennis doing some education today. Again, thanks a lot, Kenny. Thank you for listening, everyone. And we'll be back with you with a regular show, we hope, on Wednesday. Any final thoughts, guys?
No, I mean, for me, looking at the highs, pre-market session there, little echo there, 32.50. 35 and 75 by target. Got to get rid of the echo.
Well, we're ending anyway. So everyone, have a good one. See you tomorrow.
Take care.